Hey everybody, it's Tom, and today is my last full day here in Argentina. Share your screen. No thanks. So I'm headed back tomorrow. My flight leaves from EZE Airport at 12 o'clock. And I haven't posted a video for a couple of weeks because if you watch my last video, um, I was definitely getting sick. I thought I was maybe allergic to mate. Fortunately, no, I'm not. I was just getting really sick. And so the last 2 weeks, honestly, I haven't done anything. I haven't really left my room that much. I try to go for a walk in a day, and it was really, really scary um, because I just don't know my way around here. Like in Canada, getting medical attention, I'm very familiar with how to do that. You just walk into a hospital, you walk into a clinic, it's all kind of covered, and you get whatever you need, and it's all free. And here, of course, I don't really know. So there I am lying in my bed a couple of weeks ago, and I can't breathe very well, and I'm thinking, this is not great. And now keep in mind, I've had COVID a couple of times. I've had some viral respiratory infections, and there's nothing you can really do for those but let them run their course. But then at one point, it became pretty clear to me that this was not viral, that it was a bacterial infection. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's new and different for me. Not only that, but that's terrifying. I don't I don't know. I don't know what do I do about all this. And so I made it the priority the following day to contact people and even the embassy and see how do you get medical attention here. Turned out my Airbnb host Fernando was the first to get back to me and said, "Oh, there's a clinic, private clinic, 4 blocks from the place, and so just walk in there." So I did, feeling pretty horrible, and I'm thinking, I don't know what this is going to cost, but I'd pay $1,000. Like I was lying awake and thinking to myself, what if this is tuberculosis? Or I don't want to get dramatic, but I've never had tuberculosis. I don't know what it's like, right? But this sucks. I'm not having any fun here. So I got up and I pulled myself together, and I walked over to the clinic, and it was early, and nothing happens early, so I was like the only person there. And so eventually I find my way into the right place, which is relatively unmarked. Like you walk in this door and you talk to a guard, and oh yeah, I go up the escalator to the second floor, and there's a wicket, and I say, oh, I can't breathe, I need to see a doctor. And he says, okay, great, but first they're going to charge me. I'm like, well, here it comes, right? We're going to get a big bill. And so they hand the machine over, and it's $12. Oh, thank God. So it's $12. Again, I would have paid way more. And I see the intake nurse, and then I see the doctor for a second. The doctor's checking me with the stethoscope on my lungs. He's like, okay, well, I can't hear anything in the bottom of your left lung. So I need you to get a chest X-ray and some blood work. I want some blood work as well. So I said, okay, that's fine. And so back to the wicket, and we pay for some more stuff, another $13. And then I walk, and first I went downstairs to the X-ray place, and they also wanted to charge me money, and that was another $13. And I got a chest X-ray. I got to go back up to the second floor, talk to the guy at the wicket. He says, oh, okay, wait here a second. Then somebody comes and says, Metzger. And I walk in, and lovely lady takes some blood in much the same way as it happens at home. And then they say, come back in a couple hours. Okay, so then it's only 4 blocks. I walk back to my place. I came back in a couple of hours, and now, because it's almost noon, there's people waiting around. I'm like, okay, this is when we have the big wait. I'll be here for a couple of hours waiting. And frankly, that would be normal in Canada. I'd be waiting a couple hours. And I was standing there maybe 3 minutes, and a lady comes out the door and says, Thomas Metzger. Oh, great. And she takes me to the doctor. The doctor says, your chest X-ray is fine and your blood work is normal. And so I'm just going to prescribe you some antibiotics. And breathe a sigh of relief. I say, is it tuberculosis? He says, no, it isn't. Okay, great news. So that was it. Then I walked to one of the many pharmacies here in this region of Palermo, and walked in. And it's very funny. You come to a place that's not known to be on the top of the development index, or like, not really. I mean, it's not, neither is it at the bottom. But then you find things that I like at home. I don't think I've ever seen a robot at a little pharmacy dispensing place. We probably have them, but I've never seen them. And so, I pay my whatever now, another $14 or $15 to get my antibiotics, and it pops out of a hole behind the lady at the desk. I'm like, oh, what's going on? And then there's, even if you walk outside, there's a glass window, and you can see the robot, and the robot just picks and sends things in. And my lady friend was smart enough to point out that might also be for security purposes. Like, that means nobody can walk in and hold them at gunpoint and demand narcotics or whatever. So yeah, I can see the sense in it as well. So long story short, then I started taking my pills. I started feeling substantially better. Still coughing a little bit, as you can tell. And but then I was able to get walk into another place and get some what are these, decongestant, because I was thinking my flight is tomorrow and I don't want to be radioactive on the flight. So hopefully, if I take these, I won't cough so much. And that's actually true. That works fine. So the unfortunate part is that even though there's probably the odd thing that I would like to have done in my last couple of weeks, I really haven't done anything because I've been feeling terrible, and because I just didn't feel like doing anything. So I stayed in my little room. I took the odd walk around the block, and that's about it. So kind of ending the trip in not the most pleasant way. I would like to have been able to go and see more things and do more things, but it's okay. I've been here for 3 months. And so what is my reaction to the first time that I've ever gone away by myself for 3 months? It was great. I really liked it. I really enjoyed the trip. I've been in almost constant contact with my partner and with my kids, at least one of my kids, the one who's more social. I play chess with the other one, which was great. And so, yeah, I haven't felt under socialized. Also, I have to say that if I hadn't shown up and immediately been adopted by the local barbershop quartet, it would have been much more difficult to be here for 3 months by myself. But I've gone out for drinks, and I've played tennis, and I went to some rehearsals, and I saw some concerts for the guys, the wonderful guys from the Barber Drunk Quartet, the real pioneers of the barbershop world here in Argentina. And they're super guys. I mean, they invited me to Christmas, they invited me to New Year. They took me on a walking tour of La Boca, which was fantastic. And that really helped a lot. So if I went away again, which I hope to. I mean, it's part of my hope in life is to be able to see the world. And just to recap, I've seen a fair bit of the world, but I was mostly singing at the time, and so I didn't really see it. Right, I short trips and saw some venues and some airports mostly, and with the odd exception, really didn't see very much. And so this is part of what I want to do with the rest of my life here. So I hope I go away again. But if I do, will it be 3 months long all by myself? No, I don't think I want to do that again. I think what would make this really great would be to go away for a little less time and to have my loved ones visit me in the middle. So let's say I went, let's go to Asia somewhere. Let's go to Thailand, and Anna can come with me and spend time with me there. And that would be an improvement on this trip, right? That would be more to my liking. However, I mean, it's been a great trip in many ways. I took a ton of pictures. I recorded all of these videos that I hope I will want to review sometime later in my life, when I want to remember what the trip was like. And I don't have that for really any other trip that I did. Some of them I have footage of myself singing on stages, but not just me reflecting on the trip, because again, this has been very, very unique. John Newell would hate that I said very unique, because as he would probably want to point out, it's either unique or it's not unique. It's not a continuum. There's no continuum of uniqueness. And thank you, John, for pointing that out to me on several occasions. It actually pops into my mind quite often when I hear people, and they do it all the time, say, it was quite unique. So there you go. What else can I add? This is probably going to be my last video from this trip and the last one in the Argentina playlist. If you are considering coming to Argentina, I would very much recommend it, with one little caveat, and that is that right, of course, you may or may not realize that Argentina is in a bit of a political issue at the moment and has been experiencing really hyperinflation, like very rapid inflation, devaluation of the currency. And so, on the bright side, everything was pretty cheap for me while I was here. But that weird condition where there was a big gap between the official rate of exchange and the black market rate of exchange has now evaporated, because it used to be the official rate. Like when I landed at the airport and I had $100 US in cash, and I went to the official place and they gave me 40,000 pesos for that, right? So that's 400 to 1, right? And that's kind of like close to the official rate at the time. But the black market rate was 1,000 to 1 or 1,100 to 1 or something like that. And so I came with $1,000 in US cash, and I black market got 1,000 to 1 rate on most of that, mostly from my friend Diego, but also occasionally by walking down to Florida Street and dealing with a person yelling "cambio." And I think I put that in a previous video. So that was a unique situation. And then when Javier Milei was elected president, one of the things he did right away was devalue the currency again by half. So now the official rate is pretty close to the black market rate. So that weird circumstance that was making everything ridiculously cheap for foreigners with US or European currency, that is no longer the case. Not because you get less for your dollar, you get just as much, but now the inflation has caught up. So just as a crazy example, I used to walk down to the little egg store, the little chicken tienda de pollos downstairs, and I would pick up a dozen eggs, and a dozen eggs was 1,000 or 1,200 pesos, and now it's double that, right? And it's so everything is just more expensive. You still get lots and lots of pesos for dollars. And so the reason I mentioned that is, if you wanted to come here in the next little while, I would, maybe be a little bit careful, because there's definitely a political fight brewing here between the different factions of the government. Milei is very much an outsider and really doesn't even have a majority in their local Congress, in the National Congress. And I'm no expert on the political ins and outs here, but I know that the trade unions are more in the camp of what Milei would call the political elite caste. And consequently, there's all kinds of potential for unrest. There's been some pretty big, safe as far as I know, but pretty big demonstrations by the powerful trade unions. And could things get out of hand here? Sure, they could. In a way, I'm going to breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief tomorrow when my plane takes off, because who knows what's going to happen. Yeah, so I don't know. Look, check the conditions on the ground before you decide to come here. But if you do, it is absolutely wonderful here. The weather is paradise all the time, almost all the time. The odd windstorm, maybe, but essentially it's beautiful. It's quite inexpensive to fly to other places in the country. It's a huge country, so it's not a short flight to go to Iguazu, or to go to Salta, or to go to Mendoza, or to go to Bariloche. Those are all amazing places to go, or even Cordoba, or I'm forgetting one. It's the place where Messi was born. I'm sure it'll come to me, or put it in the comments if you want. But all those places are easy to access by internal flights that are not at all expensive. And so, yeah, come and stay in one of the nice neighborhoods in Buenos Aires, and then do what I did and go on these weekend or long weekend excursions. What a wonderful experience. I have so many pictures, met so many wonderful people, truly one of the most memorable things I've ever done. And I would very much recommend that, as long as the political situation stays in a relatively tranquil state, you should do it too. I love the quote that I keep seeing by a famous economist whose name eludes me, but they say there's four kinds of economies in the world. Is the developed world, and there's the developing world, and there's Japan, and there's Argentina. So those are the four kinds of economies, because Argentina is it's such a weird economic test case, or case study. That's the word I'm looking for. They're enormously in debt to the International Monetary Fund, by far the biggest debtor, and yeah, so it's a really interesting place. But the people here are wonderful. It's fascinating. It's full of culture. It's full of nature. It's a climate not unlike California, at least here in Buenos Aires. There's also jungle. There's also desert. There's also temperate stuff. If you go far enough south, there's even glaciers. Like, this is an amazing country. Would strongly recommend that if you like traveling, and even if you speak a little bit of Spanish or you're willing to learn, then you should come to Argentina too. I hope I get to come back next time. I want to come with some more people. And one thing that I would probably do is, now that I know my way around, I would probably direct book an apartment rather than going through Airbnb, because I know I could have gotten a better place than this for less money if I had been more in the know. Anyway, that's my wrap up. A friend of mine suggested I sing "Don't Cry for Me, Argentina" at the very end of it, which I don't know. Obviously, it's Evita Peron, and it's from the musical Evita. You know, "Don't Cry for Me, Argentina." But I frankly couldn't figure out what the song was really about. It's either that Evita Peron, and if you don't know the history of that, you probably should look it up. Either she was expressing a heartfelt solidarity with the people of Argentina, or she was playing them and trying to win favor as her political career took off. Because again, it's just super fascinating here. Thanks everybody, and thanks for everybody who's been following along with my little videos. Hope everybody has a great day. And if I go on another massive trip, maybe I'll do this again. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.